People of Africa, receive our greetings and our respect. Today is Monday, the 9th of February 2026, and we speak to you with a deep sense of urgency and responsibility because the narratives and political maneuvers currently unfolding in our region cannot and must not go unanswered. This message is not directed only at presidents and governments, but above all at African peoples. Peoples who are increasingly aware, informed, and conscious of the forces shaping their present and their future. I am Thomas Sankara, speaking to you from the United Nations of Africa, and today we must speak truthfully, calmly, and firmly. We are compelled to respond to recent statements and actions by President Tebboune, because the strategy he is attempting to deploy, one rooted in division, manipulation, and domination, will not succeed in the Sahel, and it will not succeed anywhere else in Africa. The era in which African nations could be fragmented, weakened, and subdued through divide and rule tactics has passed. The peoples of the Sahel, and Africa more broadly, are no longer passive spectators in the affairs that determine their destiny. It must be stated clearly and without ambiguity. President Teboon is not acting alone. He is operating within a broader geopolitical mission. We are fully aware that despite public disagreements and diplomatic tensions between France and Algeria, cooperation between these two states has never truly ceased. At the level of intelligence and security services, collaboration continues, particularly when it comes to containing, influencing, or weakening the countries of the Sahel. This is not speculation. This is a reality well understood by those who closely observe the region. For this reason, attempts to mask intentions with speeches, selective diplomacy, or carefully chosen language will not deceive African peoples. Africa is no longer asleep. Our people cannot be lulled into complacency by rhetoric. What is unfolding before us is far more serious, and it demands clarity. In his recent approach, President Teboune has sought to create divisions among the countries of the Sahel by engaging selectively with some leaders while isolating others. He invited the president of Niger, claimed to maintain good relations with Burkina Faso, and at the same time declared a rupture with Mali. He justified this rupture with arguments that, when examined closely, collapse under their own weight. This is not diplomacy. This is manipulation. It is an attempt to fracture unity within the Sahel and weaken collective resistance to external influence. But this strategy fails to recognize one fundamental reality. African societies, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, are no longer politically naive. Our populations understand historical patterns. They recognize foreign interference. They see contradictions clearly, and they remember. When President Teboune invokes history to justify his position toward Mali, he does so selectively. He forgets, or chooses to ignore, that Mali played a significant role in supporting Algeria's struggle for independence. That historical solidarity carries moral weight, and it imposes responsibility. Algeria, of all countries, should not obstruct Mali's struggle to reclaim sovereignty and territorial integrity, especially in the face of external pressure and neo-colonial aggression. To obstruct Mali today, while indirectly enabling the interests of France, is not only contradictory, it is deeply troubling. Perhaps in another era, such maneuvering might have succeeded. But today, in an age of shared information and rising African consciousness, such tactics are destined to fail. It is profoundly misguided to believe that serving foreign interests, especially those of former colonial powers, can strengthen regional stability. Weakening Mali, isolating it diplomatically, or facilitating the return of foreign military influence near African borders does not serve Africa. It undermines Africa. President Tebboune appears either not to grasp this reality, or he is influenced by individuals and networks that have long benefited from instability in northern Mali, networks that have profited from trafficking, illicit trade, and chaos. These actors have a vested interest in disorder, but there comes a moment when enough is enough. The peoples of the Sahel have reached that moment. The Alliance of Sahel States is not a casual arrangement. It is a confederation founded on shared principles and common objectives. One of its central pillars is diplomacy. This means that its member states speak with a unified voice toward the outside world, a voice that is collective, coordinated, and deliberate. President Tebboune must understand that he is not a member of this confederation. He is an external actor. As such, the same firm and consistent diplomatic posture applied to other external leaders applies equally to him. There can be no exceptions. Respect for sovereignty is not negotiable. When President Tebboune speaks as though he alone defines political relationships and influence in West Africa, he reveals an outdated and paternalistic mindset. Influence today does not come from posturing. It comes from mutual respect and genuine partnership, qualities clearly absent from his current approach. We are not ignorant of the broader context behind his recent statements. We know that he has been compelled to engage in negotiations over Western Sahara, negotiations that have placed him under significant pressure. He was forced to sit at the table alongside actors he once sought to marginalize. These discussions, scheduled to take place in Madrid, mark a shift in political reality. To distract from this setback, attention is being redirected toward the Sahel. Domestic audiences are being fed selective narratives to preserve political standing. But while such narratives may influence opinion at home, they will not deceive those who understand the deeper dynamics at play. Claims that Mali is responsible for diplomatic rupture are particularly disingenuous. Mali has never attacked Algeria. Mali has never deployed aircraft or troops across Algerian borders. Mali has never declared war. There are no Malian-backed armed groups operating against Algeria. These are facts. At the same time, armed groups destabilizing Mali and the Sahel have long benefited from safe havens, logistical channels, and indirect support beyond Mali's borders. This imbalance cannot be ignored. The argument that Mali's rejection of the Algiers Agreement justifies rupture is revealing. That agreement was never a neutral peace instrument. It was imposed under extreme pressure during a period of Malian political fragility. Its provisions allowed a small number of armed groups to exercise disproportionate control over large portions of Malian territory. No sovereign state can accept an agreement that institutionalizes its own fragmentation. To withdraw from such an agreement is not aggression, it is dignity, it is survival. The Algiers Agreement facilitated the partition of Mali under the illusion of peace. It weakened state authority, legitimized armed actors, abandoned strategic positions, and replaced elected officials with unelected ones. This was not reconciliation, it was organized instability. Despite the agreement, violence continued. Mali financed forces that undermined it. Expecting Mali to remain indefinitely bound by such conditions is unjust. African peoples no longer accept agreements that serve external interests while destroying internal cohesion. The current Malian leadership understands this reality and has identified genuine allies. When President Tebboune warns against Mali acquiring weapons, he exposes another contradiction. Algeria purchases arms globally. To deny Mali the same right to self-defense is neo-colonial thinking. Mali is not arming itself to attack neighbors. Mali is defending itself against terrorism and interference. Mali has never been at war with Algeria. Its struggle is defensive. Suggesting otherwise raises serious questions. The era of submission is over. Attempts to divide the Sahel will fail. Leaders coordinate. Unity strengthens. At the heart of this issue lies sovereignty, dignity, and self-determination. The Sahel is no longer a playground for proxy politics. This message is not hostility, it is clarity. If withdrawing from imposed agreements is called rupture, then so be it. Mali has chosen sovereignty over submission, unity over fragmentation, and truth over convenience. People of Africa, understand what is at stake. Divide and rule will not succeed. Awareness is our defense. I now call on you. Invite your families, your friends, your communities to join this movement. Subscribe so you remain informed. Like this broadcast so it reaches more Africans. Comment so your voice is heard. And share this message across all platforms: WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and beyond. I am Thomas Sankara, speaking from the United Nations of Africa. Stay strong, stay informed, remain united.